Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author on the treadmill here today, helping take your health, fitness, mindset, body from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be. And I want to take you on my journey today on the treadmill because I've got a busy day and sometimes we've just got to find those gaps and those pockets of times where we can still do what we want to do in terms of being able to deliver my daily content for you here, but also do something for myself at the same time, which is to look after my back and keep it moving. Because we often just sacrifice everything that we should be doing so that we can, get our business work done or whatever those things are that we want to get done. So today, I've got a case study for you which you may be able to relate to as to perhaps where you are right now in your own health and wellness journey. I mean, we've got about 70% of the world population in first world countries that are either overweight or obese. So this is going to be relevant for most people that are listening. And a lot of people will go on a particular journey and for whatever reason they'll start a certain way and get to a point which maybe is, let's just call it a plateau, and don't really understand why results aren't coming anymore, and try and get a change by changing the wrong things. So I'm working with a lady at the moment who has done really well, has lost 20 kilos roundabout, and feeling really good, but at the same time, she's also feeling a little bit frustrated because she's gotten to that point where nothing's moving. And so I do a weekly coaching call with her and we're unpacking what's going on for her. And she's been in this same place for the last few weeks now. Now, I know what's going on for her, but sometimes you need to cover things multiple times so that she or he can start to really appreciate what's going on for them. So she's done well up to this point, and she's still doing well because she's not blowing out, she's not falling back into some old habits. So she's just staying around this same weight, and she wants to lose at least another 6 kilos. And so what I said to her a little while ago was that what took her to where she is right now isn't going to take her the rest of the way. We need to do it a little bit differently. Why? Well, think about it like this. If you take a sedentary person that maybe needs to lose 20 kilos and you just get them moving, then obviously that's going to have a change on their metabolism, it's going to have a change on their body, what's going on. So they're going to lose some weight. Now, if they just start moving and that's all they ever do, they just move at that same amount, there's going to come a point where the body adapts. It gets used to what's going on and stops changing. So then if we throw in something else, which is about changing your food and making that to be a little bit more healthy. So again, if we use a similar example, somebody that's having takeaway a number of times a week and drinking lots of sugary drinks, for instance. And let's just say that they now stop doing that. They cut out the sugary drinks or cut them well down, and they start having either way less takeaway or none at all. Then again, just by making those changes, some people will have some dramatic impacts in reducing their weight. But again, over a period of time, that's going to stop working. Now, where this particular lady's gotten to is she's made some really good changes in what it is that she's doing. She's feeling a lot better, but she's feeling frustrated because she's not changing. So if I give you that scenario, what do you then think most people do to try and get a change? Just have a think about that for a moment while I take a mouthful of water. Well, there's two things that people normally do. Well, three. The first thing is that they get frustrated and say, I don't understand why I'm doing all these things, I'm being really good, and nothing's happening. The first thing that they normally do is introduce more exercise. Not less, but more. So they'll either go to the gym more frequently, they'll increase the amount of cardio that they're doing, and then not understand why they're not getting a different result. The next thing that they may do, or do at the same time, is cut down the amount of food that they're eating. And that normally doesn't work because the body goes into a starvation mode and then will not respond accordingly. So we can do it a lot smarter. I mean, we know the science is very clear in this area. Doing more exercise is not a great thing. Doing less food is also not a good idea because what we have is the two don't match. Okay, you can't be increasing the amount of exercise that you're doing, and some people do that dramatically, and at the same time cut down the food, which, I mean, common sense would tell you that, well, if you're exercising more, you need to fuel yourself with more food. So, and this is exactly what this person did. And I said, look, you've got to do it smarter. What I want you to do is actually exercise less. Now, to put this in perspective, she's probably averaging around 20,000 steps a day, which is a lot. You hear the organisations talk about doing around 10,000 steps a day. That's what I say to my clients. If you can do around that 10,000 steps, depending on where you are in your health journey, then that can be good. I mean, the human body is designed to move about 11 kilometres a day, but 10,000 steps is quite good for your maintenance, but that is also based on somebody that doesn't work out. This is just based on walking. Me personally, when I'm having some back issues, I find that if I do the 10,000 steps a day, that works well for my body. So what I had to get her to do was move a little less, not focus on exercising more to think that that's going to give her a different outcome. That extra time where she's not exercising, I said I wanted her to focus on preparing meals, planning meals, so that she could get more food in. Because what she's doing is cutting down her meals to about 2, maybe maximum of 3 a day. Well, that's not true. Maybe sometimes there's some snacks coming in. To increase her metabolism by virtue of her digestive system and the type of food that she's eating. So what I said to her was, I want you to send me your last week of food, because she's still tracking it, which is a good thing. And so she sent it through, and I can see in about 30 seconds why it's not working for her. Because she's not eating enough of the right types of food. So I looked at it and I can see it. Well, she's not consuming enough protein. She's not consuming enough plant-based food, and she's not eating frequently enough. So, surprise, surprise, you're not going to get the outcome that you want by doing what you're doing. So this is the value in having a coach, right? You may be sitting there thinking, I have no idea why what I'm doing is not working. But when you show your coach what it is that you're doing, if they know what they're talking about, then you can see, well, I know exactly why you're not getting what you want. So I sent her a text message off early this morning and said, look, thanks for sending all through the stuff. Here's all the great things that you are doing. But it's very clear to me why you are getting the result that you're doing. So she has pulled back on the exercise a bit, which is good. But I said, with your food, you need to be drinking more water. That's another thing. She's only drinking about 750 mils a day. I said, look, we need to get you up to close to 3 litres, but let's not do that in one step. Let's aim to get to 1.5 litres first and do that consistently. And then when that feels really easy and comfortable, let's pop it up by 250 mils. And so that's another thing that she needs to work on. I said, you need to get more plant-based food in, not fruits, because she's eating enough of those, more vegetables, because that's going to help your metabolism. So and protein, getting more protein in as well. But what sits above all of this is the thing that she's battling with. And that is that, so on my treadmill here right now, right in the center of the screen, there's this, it's on the screen in front of me, goal. And she does not have a clear, focused goal as to what it is that she wants now. She wants to lose about another 6 kilos, but I said to her, the problem is you are so close to that now, and you may be thinking 6 kilos is not that far away, but in the scheme of 20 kilos, or to take her to 25 when she's already lost 20, many people can get complacent with that and say, oh, well, yeah, look, I'm okay. And she said, yeah, you're right. So I said, what you need to do is find something that is going to draw you towards this with a fire in your belly. I said, currently it doesn't excite you. Losing 5-6 kilos, that doesn't excite you. You're more interested in, eating some poorer quality food or, having more alcohol and stuff. Even though you're not doing that, that's what you're driven towards right now because you don't have a goal that is exciting to you. So I said, that's what you need to work on over this next week. Find what it is that drives you. So I gave her a couple of examples, just in my own personal experience. I said, look, last year I was so driven and so focused to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back 100 episodes and you'll hear what I'm talking about. I wanted to achieve this six-pack look for me. I'd entered this challenge and it ended on the 19th of November last year, and everything went into that. I was so focused. We were shut down for like 8 months because of COVID, but I was so focused and so driven to achieve that. And then once I submitted my entry and my photos and everything on the 19th of November, I kind of just fell into a heap. I was like, oh man, now that I've done that, it's a sigh of relief. I don't have to do anything else now. It's done. And so in the weeks that followed, so I had a plan to say, well, okay, now that I've done that, I needed to take a break. And I took probably a week off from training because it was probably 2 weeks off from training. And then I just slowly got back into it. But I was, just in the gym, having fun, tracking what I was doing, still, building my weights up and stuff. But it wasn't a purposed, driven plan to get me to a certain outcome. It was just like, just having some fun in the gym and just working out and enjoying that and easing off some of the pressure. Now, in those ensuing weeks, I was trying to work out, okay, so what am I going to do for 2021? Because I don't know how I could become more focused than I was last year, more driven, more excited than I was last year. And what took me to where I got to last year wasn't going to take me to where I wanted to get to this year, maybe. Or was it? Because I didn't really know what I wanted to get. And I was thinking, maybe I should just have a year off where I just, don't worry about training hard and, just let my body recover, or whatever story you come up with. And so for about 8 weeks, I went through this zone of not really having a big drive to achieve more than I achieved last year. But what I did was that, and that was frustrating me. So what I did was, I started to think about what was important to me. What did I want to achieve this year? And then I started looking at pictures of, people that I used to follow with bodybuilding and so forth. And I thought, what worked well for me this last year was a focused image of me standing on stage, holding a check above my head, standing there in my shorts, tanned up, shaved down, six-pack, best-looking body that I've ever had, and 5,000 people are screaming, applauding, as AC/DC's Thunderstruck is booming out behind me and all around me. Now that was the clear image that I had created for myself because I was going to be the winner of this challenge. Now, what then happened in the ensuing weeks, I was just waiting for them to say, did I make it as a finalist? Did I make it as a finalist? And I thought, is it this week? Is it next week? I kept checking my inbox every day to see if there was an email there. And then I found out that they were going to announce it on the 16th of, I think it was the 16th of January. And so I finished on the 19th of November. So it was a couple of months away. And so I was still trying to build my momentum through this process, but I thought, well, if I become a winner, then that potentially changes my training this year as to what I need to achieve. If I don't, well then, what does that mean for me? And so I kind of felt like I was doing what I'm doing now, just on a treadmill, not really knowing what my direction was going to be. But what I did know was that I didn't want to stand still. And so I started getting the mind thinking about what I wanted to do, and I organised a coaching session with my coach to talk through what I was going to do for this year. Now, his dad was dying at the time, so we had to wait longer to connect for that call. But by the time I got to that call, I was a little clearer about what I wanted, and I thought, right, my feeling was that I wasn't going to make it as a finalist because of COVID, and that they were focusing on big weight loss people last year and not people like me that were putting on some weight. So I started to think about what I wanted my body to look like. So I thought, well, I got a six-pack last year, but what was I not happy with? And I thought, okay, well, my legs are my best feature. I want to add more muscle to my shoulders and my arms and my chest so that I could bring that up to match my legs, and I wanted to have a more defined six-pack. And then what I had imagined my six-pack would look like by the end of last year was just based on images that I've seen of people, etc., etc. But if you're, well, just go Google six-pack images, and you'll see that there's no two six-packs that are the same. Everybody is anatomically different. Now, it's not possible for me to get an 8-pack because I don't have a split abs in the, in that lower portion of my abdominal. And so what I had imagined for myself is physically not possible for me because my abs will never shape that way. And I found this these images of this old-time bodybuilder. He's still alive, but he's in his 70s now. And I love the shape of his body. He's shorter like me, and his abs are actually similar to mine. And I thought, okay, yeah, that is what I can get to. Well, this guy's on drugs, so I'm not going to get to his size, but it was the proportions, a scaled down version. And I thought, that is actually really exciting. That I can see me achieving. And yes, I'm not going to I was looking for definition in my abs, which is physically not possible for me because I don't have that separation in my abs, in my lower two portions of my abs. So I thought, that is exciting to me. And then I started to build this momentum, and I thought, okay, so how do I get to that? And I thought, well, I need to put on more muscle. So I went to my coach and I said, look, my goal for this next year, this last year I was focusing on all about body fat percentage, but I said this year I want to focus on gaining, and I thought, what's a realistic amount of muscle that I can gain? And I came up with 4 kilos. I said, I want to gain 4 kilos of muscle this year. And he said, look, I think that's achievable. He said, you might even be able to achieve a little bit more, maybe even up to 6 kilos with this sort of program. So then what he said to me was, I want you to design a program that you can do that. Use these next few weeks to experiment with exercises where we can load weights and they don't impact your injuries with your back and your shoulders, etc. And that's what I did. I went off and did that, built a program. He was really happy with it. And then we've built it in 12-week blocks. So I've just finished I brought it forward because of an injury to my back that I strained it a couple of weeks ago. So I'm in the first 12-week block now. Just coming out of it, started training again yesterday. And so about to move into the next 12-week block. And this year is very purposeful. One of the things last year, I didn't get enough rest last year. So this year we're building in sufficient rest. So that got me really excited. So now it's like, okay, I'm super focused again. Maybe more focused than last year because of how I've just rebuilt it. Now, that was a long-winded story to tell you that I'm just as human as everybody else. But I was feeling like I was in this rut. I'd lost my mojo and I didn't want to become complacent about what I was doing with my training. I wanted to be even more driven than I was last year, but I didn't have that goal to chase. I didn't know what I wanted to achieve. Now I do. It's that 4 kilos plus of muscle, and it's measured by a DEXA scan, and I've got one coming up next week. And that'll be 12 weeks since I've had my last one. And so that's how I'm going to measure my progress, because it's got to be directly measurable, doesn't it? So that to me is really important, okay? And then I can see, well, if I'm gaining muscle, then obviously the muscle's going somewhere. Hopefully by virtue of my program, it's going to the right places. And I can see that from the DEXA scan. We'll be able to see it exactly where it's going to the right places. So that's a long way of telling you this particular coaching client I'm working with, she doesn't have that. She doesn't have that clear goal that she's aiming for. She's had a couple to get to a number, but she hasn't now got that next one to take her the rest of the way. Because right now, it's not that important to her. So I said, you're focusing on the wrong thing then. You've got to find something else. Maybe it's to do with your energy. Maybe it's to do with the size of clothes rather than weight. There's another 5 kilos, 6 kilos. There's about another size in clothes down. I said maybe it's about just the way that you feel. Maybe it's about the next holiday you go on, you want to wear a bikini. Or maybe you just want to look good in a one-piece swimsuit. Maybe it's a little black dress that you used to wear, didn't fit into, but now you do. Or something where you fit into it, but you didn't feel good last time. Maybe it's about just knowing that you have a really great healthy lifestyle and you're living that, sharing it with your husband, sharing it with your children, and that feels good. Maybe it's a combination of all these things. Maybe it's about strength. We do fitness tests about every 8 weeks as part of our group training. I said maybe it's something about that. You want to get a 10 to 20% increase each time that we do this, and that's something that drives you to bring out the best of you. I said I can't tell you what it is. All I can do is plant seeds and share stories of what others have done and what I've done for myself. But I tell you, unless you've got that driving force within you to achieve something greater, you will end up just attending the gym, attending workouts, showing up in the kitchen and eating whatever, and slowly but surely those older, poorer habits will creep back in and you'll find some way to justify yourself why it is that you're doing that. And I said for her, it's pretty clear that if you start to fall back into some of those old habits, the weight for you will just creep on quite quickly. So just like me, I have to be, even though people would say, wow, you look great, you don't look your age, you're so fit and strong, and I wish I was like you and so forth. But it doesn't happen by accident. If I just ate whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, then I'd be overweight too. My metabolism is quite quick, but I think the way that my body metabolizes high energy complex carbohydrates is quite slow from what I feel. So therefore, if I was just doing what most people are doing, then I would be in a poorer position as well. If I didn't do strength training, if I wasn't focused on my health like I am, I would be one of the statistics as well. So the point is, if you are one of those statistics and you don't want to be, then you can change it, and you've got the power within you. And that is what makes you a great human being, because you are achieving a whole bunch of goals for yourself right now. Even if you say, no, I'm not, I'm sure there are things that you're achieving that you're not giving yourself credit for. And there'll be other things where you're absolutely smashing it, you're doing so amazingly well, but maybe your health and fitness is not one of those areas. Maybe you don't have that body, that energy, that focus that you really want. Maybe you really want health and fitness and a healthier lifestyle to be a really important part of your makeup, because you hear about how great it is to have that, but you don't feel like you don't have that, and you don't know what that looks like. What are all the components that you should have? So here's what you do. You go to thementaltoughnessandbodyshow.com and you opt in for a free consultation with me, and let's connect and have a conversation so that we can make 2021 your best year ever in every regards, and certainly improve your health and fitness from where you are to where it is that you want to be. Because to me, this is the most exciting part of your life. You have 100% control over this, and maybe there's just a few gaps for you right now. So, opt in for that free consultation. Stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow.